Day one of pads for the Carolina Panthers, and by far the best day for the offense during training camp. And Monday also might as well have been Hunter Renfrow day as he continues to shine. I'll give you my day 5 training camp observations right here on Locked On Panthers.
You are Locked On Panthers, your daily Carolina Panthers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into another edition of the Locked On Panthers podcast, a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, as always, Julian Council, talking Carolina Panthers with you every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and yes, of course, Friday, your team every day. That's our motto here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks for watching the show right here on YouTube and listening wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Be sure to follow me, Julian Council, over on Twitter and Blue Sky at Julian Council, because this Friday is your last chance to get a weekly Friday mailbag question in, as the Friday mailbag will be done until the off season, but we will have a weekly Wednesday mailbag starting up week 1 and all throughout the regular season. So this is what you got to do. Either at me or DM me over on Twitter at Julian Council, or at me over on Blue Sky to get your questions in, whatever you've been seeing or reading, I suppose, about training camp, whatever you want to know about training camp as we head into Fan Fest on Saturday, the fans' first chance to get a look at the 2025 iteration of the Carolina Panthers. Ask me those questions and I'll answer them for you on Friday's show. Today's episode of Locked On Panthers is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Day 5 of training camp was day 1 of pads for the Panthers as they prepare for the 2025 regular season here in Uptown Charlotte. And all of the dignitaries are out there on the Monday morning. David and his wife, Nicole Tepper, the owners of the Carolina Panthers, are out there along with Clemson head coach Dabo Swinney in attendance to look in on his former player, Hunter Renfrow, who has been really good so far during training camp. Going to talk about that, as Monday might as well have been Hunter Renfrow day with Dabo in, the way that he performed. We heard from Hunter after practice as well. He has been one of the stars, if there can be any stars, 5 days in Panthers camp. So we'll talk about that later on the show. Good news, Sam Martin and Bobby Brown III, 2 key free agent acquisitions. And yeah, Sam Martin, even as a punter, was a key addition that they made this offseason. Both of those guys were back out there on practice for the first time this camp, both in pads as they were activated off of the non-football injury list on Monday morning. Both of them dealing with hamstring injuries that Dave Canales, Panthers head coach, told us last week weren't that serious and should not keep them out that long, that they would be back in the near future. The near future was today on Monday morning, so they were both back out there, which is great news for Carolina, especially on the Bobby Brown III part, as I think that he and Turk Wharton can be massive additions. And if they can have the impact that you saw from Damian Lewis and Robert Hunt last year, that could turn things around for the Panthers defensive line. Not to mention that Derek Brown also coming back is going to be huge for that position group and for the defense overall in 2025. Looking at a few other things, Austin Corbett was running with the ones today, and I found it interesting because on Saturday I was there. Corbett was also with the first team, and I wondered, would Cade Mays, not Corbett, get the first opportunity to be with Bryce Young, with the first team offensive line, with pads on? Instead, it was Austin Corbett. So that will be something to check out on Tuesday, whether Cade Mays gets his opportunity, as I do believe that this is going to be competition. And Dave told us last week they're going to let this thing play out. You want to at least get into joint practice next week with the Browns and maybe even that preseason game against Cleveland and the next week against Houston. I would guess by week 3, heading into that finale on that Thursday night with Pittsburgh, the Panthers will know who their starting center will be. And then we'll find out the loser, whoever that will be, if that guy is traded away. Something that Mike Cave, the Charlotte Observer, said to us last week that he thinks will probably, or at least maybe be logically the decision Carolina makes after all that is said and done. Looking at a couple of observations when going through individual and team drills 1v1 on Saturday, Tet McMillan, T-Mac had some issues against Mike Jackson, some physicality there, trying to learn what it's going to be like to be in the NFL, and Mike Jack not letting the rookie get the best of him. And that was the number one thing I told y'all yesterday. I wanted to see when the pads came on, how would T-Mac respond to the physicality against Mike Jackson and J.C. Horn and all the other corners, but primarily those two top guys. And he got an opportunity to go up against Mike Jack again during 1v1s. First one, Mike Jackson manhandled him. Looked like to me, would have been a penalty. There is a rough out there, but the ref was not throwing a flag on that play. And we even had a ref during the whole kicker skinny post situation, wouldn't even tell us whether it was good or he missed it. Like, that's the first time we've had an official out there at training camp not say whether it was a good kick or a bad kick, which kind of odd. Why are you there and not doing your job? But either way, to me, probably in a game would have been pass interference or illegal contact, whatever. But the second time around, T-Mac was able to get the best of Mike Jackson. He fought off the physicality, got down the field on a nice little fade route. Bryce Young, a really nice throw and a really good catch there by T-Mac as he kind of not really didn't jump out, but had to extend his arms and fell down to the ground, held on to it. So good to see him bounce back after a Saturday where he had to probably go back home and look at the film like, damn, I got to be tougher. I got to be able to get off that press, which he did not do a good job of doing on Saturday and did a much better job in that matchup today on Monday against Mike Jackson. Dave Canales said after practice that Mike Jack wants to go good on good every time, that he wants to see T-Mac, he wants to see Adam Thielen, he wants to see Xavier Legette, but right now it's been T-Mac who he's wanting to see. And Dave also said, quote, we make us as far as going good on good, having that kind of physicality, having T-Mac go against J.C. Horn, having go against Mike Jackson and know what professional cornerbacks look like and how they perform and how physical they can be with the other point of attack. That is going to help the Panthers become us at the end of the day. So that was a positive from practice. Absolutely. Hunter Renfrow continues to look the part, easily winning all three of his reps, which I believe were against Shaw Smith-Wade, the last of which Shaw was thrown. They threw a penalty for him holding on to Hunter. Would have been pass interference, and Hunter was able to get open anyways, catch the ball. So he was great. Going to talk more about him later on here on the show. Jalen Coker, I thought he looked good on Saturday during 1v1s, also looked good again today, winning his reps against Caleb Evans and Corey Thornton. Thornton continues to rotate in there with the ones. He's coming in 11v11 when Mike Jackson's out. He's in there. When J.C. Horn's out, he's in there. He's been opposite of both Horn and Jackson pretty much every day of camp so far at that cornerback spot. 11v11, we had our first fight of training camp today as Trevin Wallace hit Chuba Hubbard pretty high. And he read the swing route, good play by Trevin, and he threw a shoulder. I thought the shoulder went to the chest. Talking to other people who were out there, someone thought it was shoulder to shoulder. Someone else thought it was shoulder to helmet. Either way, Chuba wasn't feeling it. He came up swinging. I don't know whether he connected or not. We had a little melee, a fracas there for a second that was quickly dissipated as far as the heat in the air. But yeah, Trevin Wallace hit Chuba Hubbard. Chuba didn't like it. And I thought it was fairly like a clean play. It's not like Trevin completely laid him out. He just kind of threw his shoulder. It was high. Granted, it was. I don't know if it would have been a penalty. Didn't see any penalty flags by the officials that were out there. But the first training camp fight has occurred now between Chuba Hubbard and Trevin Wallace. We'll see if there's another one on Tuesday. And Dave came out and said it's football. They got to toe the line. A lot of times it's not personal. It's just football. And Chuba, he talked about it afterwards, saying it's a football play and there's nothing to be mad about. And also said that sometimes he reacts crazy. And those are his words. He said, sometimes I react crazy. I do think that's true. It's crazy to come up and to swing at someone's helmet with a fist, a bare fist. Like, maybe not the smartest thing to do. I guess he had a glove on, but still not the smartest thing to do. But he said he would talk to Trevin in the locker room, knows it's all love. So no harm, no foul there as they get into the first training camp scuffle this year. Taylor Moton, Josh Nyman continue to rotate at the right tackle, while Derek Brown was taking a couple of reps there at defensive tackle. All those guys, I guess, their reps being monitored. Really, Taylor and DB are really the main ones there. Turk Wharton, lined up a couple of times in an outside rush position, which I noticed when DJ Wonnum went out. Shai Tuttle, Sean Robinson, Turk Wharton, Pat Jones. That was the rotation when that occurred. One of the few times I saw it. Jones, by the way, him and Wonnum, they've been lining up. We have Pat Jones on the left side. They've had DJ Wonnum on the right side, and behind him, Nick Scorton has been playing primarily behind Jones on the left side, and Iman Mielen, Princely Iman Mielen, has been on the right when they've subbed in. DJ Johnson, what does this mean for him as far as those top four? Well, he made a nice play, stop and run. I was talking to somebody wondering, is DJ Johnson going to make the roster? What's the deal with him? And he's somebody who can set the edge. And you look at this group, Pat Jones was brought in to do that. DJ Wonnum, think he's still somebody primarily they want to have as a pass rusher. He will play on early downs, of course. Nick Scorton, think he has the ability to set the edge. Princely Iman Mielen has looked better, I think, setting the edge than I thought, but he's probably still somebody you want more as a rusher. So DJ Johnson could have a role in this defense as somebody who can help stop the run, something that Ejiro Vera, the DC, who wanted DJ Johnson a couple of years ago, really thinks, what's the word, that he really wants out of his defensive ends or his edge rushers in that outside linebacker spot. So we'll see how that all plays out. Christian Roseboom had a nice blitz up the middle on a play as well. That would have been a sack. JT Sanders was banged up late in 11v11 and late in practice. May have fallen on a ball, but then I asked Dave Canales after practice what was the deal with JT. He said that they've been telling guys to punch the ball out. So he believes that maybe he took a shot into the groin, and maybe that's what happened. But he's not so sure what it was and whether he's okay or not. But looking at it before they called practice at the end of it, it looked like JT was ready to go back into practice. So I think he was totally fine. And he was walking gingerly, but not the gingerly where like, okay, this guy's actually hurt. And the trainers were right there with him the whole time, but they didn't seem to be super alarmed by whatever was going. So it looks like he took a shot to where you don't want to get hit, or at least got hit in the stomach and got the wind knocked out of him. Both ways you would lose the wind out of you, but that's how it looks like it played out. 7v7. Last thing here as far as observations, we'll talk about special teams, controversy later on here on the show. Andy Dalton, really nice throw. We talked about last year when he came in, threw with great anticipation, did that again today, was looking for Hunter Renfrow, and I saw it right away. He waited for Hunter, not even waited. He looked at the linebacker, kind of just lofted it over him. Hunter had his eyes on the ball. He laid out for it. Nice catch. Another highlight play by Hunter Renfrow and great throw by Andy Dalton. T-Mac also had a pair of nice catches during that session. Even during 11v11, I think he had one over the middle, was a nice catch and run. So he was able to bounce back. 1v1 also had some nice plays there in 7v7 and 11-on-11. So good to see the rookie wide receiver, the 8th overall pick from Arizona, bounce back. And his overall Monday was the best day for the offense thus far. They were not crisp the first couple of days, wasn't out there for the Friday walkthrough as that was closed off to the media. But as far as what I saw today, the best that the offense has looked. And that's good to see as far as just physicality wise. Dave Canales wanted these guys to go out there and do play the style of football that they want to play. And they brought that energy day one, really, but day one of pads. And that's something you got to do when there's no fans out there. Don't have all the cheering, which they're used to during a regular season, but this is different, of course, as you're used to having fans out there during training camp. You got to bring your own energy, and they absolutely did that. The offense had its best day of camp so far. We'll see how the defense is able to bounce back on Thursday as this all continues. But Hunter Renfrow, he was a man of the day on Monday. Might as well have been Hunter Renfrow day. We'll talk about what he was able to do, what his old coach had to say about him here in just a moment on Locked On Panthers. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game of friends or family? Maybe it's game day and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Game Time comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. Game Time makes it possible. Game Time makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get the first pitch, and they've got incredible last minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download the Game Time app. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. If there has been an MVP through the first 5 days of training camp for the Panthers, it's been Hunter Renfrow. And I told y'all, like, first couple of days, no pads on. I'm not really sitting there and taking too many things to heart as far as how these guys are performing. But Hunter, he was a standout. Once the pads came on today on Monday, he once again was a standout during 1v1s, during 11v11s. And the fact that his old head coach, Dabo Swinney, was also out here to check him out, that only made it more of Hunter Renfrow Day. And it was to the point where we weren't going to talk to Hunter after practice. It was going to be Dave. It was going to be Bryce Young. It was also going to be Chuba Hubbard. But because Hunter Renfrow has been looking really good, and all the I think multiple news stations wanted to have one-on-ones with him today. Maybe they'll get him on later on this week. But because Dabo was in attendance and that Hunter was looking good, playing well, that's big reason why we had to talk to him. So Monday might as well have been Hunter Renfrow Day. Had a lot of people saying, yeah, I guess it's Hunter Renfrow Day now that Dabo's here and the way that Hunter has been playing. We got to talk to the head coach of the Clemson Tigers a little bit during training camp or during practice on Monday, and Dabo was out there saying he just want to come see Hunter. They played golf apparently recently down at Lake Keowee in South Carolina. So nice that they got that set up. Apparently Hunter has a house down there. Of course, Dabo has a house down there, and they were having the little Keowee Cup, as they called it. And Dabo was telling us to ask Hunter what happened, I guess, as Dabo, they were playing twosomes. Dabo's team was able to win late one, I guess, 2 under was the score for him. And Hunter said, I think they were right at 1 under, thought they were going to win. And Dabo's playing in the pitch dark. He's got his friend, whoever's playing partner was, putting a light on the ball so that Dabo could see where the ball was so he could hit it. And then I guess they were able to do whatever they did on that green, either birdie or par, whatever it needed to be to take it home. But they were able to get that win. But he was joking about that. But really just wanted to be here to support his old player. And Clemson fans know this, the biggest play in Clemson football history to win a national championship down there in Tampa, Deshaun to Hunter against Alabama. That was a catch by Hunter Renfrow. He was great even the year prior when they lost that game out in the desert. That's Alabama, had 2 touchdowns in that game. So he, one of the all-time greats, I would say, for Clemson, just based off of the moments that he had and how he performed. But an ultimate underdog, guy who came to Clemson without a scholarship, and Dabo's one of those guys who he loves those walk-on wide receivers, and RIP to the walk-ons, as that's no longer a thing in college. And that's what Dabo was. He was a walk-on in Alabama, had to live in the dorm room with his mom, and didn't have a dime to his name. And look at him now, and Hunter Renfrow, I think he probably saw a lot of himself in Hunter, and he told us so. When you look at Hunter on and even off the field, he doesn't look like he belongs. But when you watch him play, he absolutely belongs. And Dabo said it. Dave said it. He looks like the old Hunter Renfrow, and Dabo's been in contact with him throughout his health challenges. And Hunter actually was nice enough to be open about what he went through over the last couple of seasons. Now, it's a long clip, but I wanted to play this so you can hear it from his own mouth, his own words, what he's gone through to get to this point here in Carolina.
So really 2021, I remember we made the playoffs that year, and I remember late in the season being like, I'm tired for some reason. Like, I'm really tired. Didn't think much of it because we made the playoffs. I remember taking like a month off and then going to the Pro Bowl and being like, I don't want to go run a route. I'm gassed. You know, I'm tired. Why am I so tired? And I was like, maybe I just took a month off and I didn't do anything. And so then that went on, and then all summer, you know, I was negotiating a contract, so I was trying to give my best and feel the best I could. But I just remember being really tired and really fatigued and really all the time, and then really just it lingered on. And I didn't find out till after 2022 really that I had something. You know, I think the moment I figured something out was that next off season I was training to come back to football, and you know, like one day I'd run 110s as our conditioning test, and I'd run 4 of them, and I'd be like on the ground, gassed, tired, couldn't run anymore. And the next day I'd run 10 of them and it'd be no problem. So I was like, something's going on here. So, you know, get some medical stuff done, got some screening done, figured out this is what I had. And then the last year, the Raiders, you know, they just trying to piece it together to finish up the contract. And then I got, after the season, I was like, I'm never playing football again. I do not want to play football, right? Like when you feel like that and you feel like you left your teammates down, you feel like you can't get up and get everything you have. And then you can give some days everything you have, they count on you, and then the next day you lay an egg. It's not fun, right? I don't think that's good in any profession. And so went through that, and I was like, I'm not playing, and came through Easter of 2024, so a year ago. And I remember just being about as sick as I could. You know, there was a week I really liked the Pelicans, or I think they're Pelicans down here, the snow cones. So me and my daughter were going like 3 times a week to get some Pelican snow cones, and the sugar was awful for me. So I didn't know that. And so I had to go to the ER because I had 101 degree fever for 7 days straight, like break fever, shivers, get in the tub, break it, shivers, get in the tub. So felt terrible, ended up going to the hospital, getting some steroids, and I finally was like, I need to get this under control. So I actually was working with a guy from Atrium up here, Dr. Aravapalli, and he is a GI specialist, and my uncle referred me to him, or my cousin referred me to him, who's a pediatrician in the area, and he's done unbelievable for me and got me on the right infusion and kind of coached me through what I can eat, what portions I can eat, what to stay away from, and I felt a lot better. So I've been very appreciative.
So, I mean, like a 3-year battle that he's dealt with, talking about being tired. I mean, it goes all the way back to his Pro Bowl season, being tired before the end of the 2021 season, going to the playoffs, and then even at the Pro Bowl being winded, and didn't know until the end of 2022 that he had an issue. And then even after that, going into 2023, he was dealing with conditioning where he'd feel good one day, not feel good the next day. And he talked about just letting his teammates down, and how unfortunate that must be for him to have gone through that and to have take a year off, thinking that he couldn't play football again. And it's just one of those things where, too, it's like a little serendipitous that he comes to Carolina now after working with a doctor who's from Atrium Hospital, which if you go out to training camp, you'll be out at the stadium. There's Atrium logos all over the place, as they are the official health provider of your Carolina Panthers. So cool that a player and Hunter Renfrow, who had to go to them to be able to get on the field. And hey, Atrium, there's some free advice here. If you want to do a commercial, put Hunter Renfrow in it, give him some money, give him some of the money he paid to get better back, and put him in a commercial talking about his experience. So there you go. There's a free marketing for you, and I'll take my check in the mail whenever you want to. But good to have him back. Seriously, good to see the guy out there, because, again, he was a great story at Clemson, awesome with the Raiders until he was sick, and now that he's back and ready to go, like, he talked to his agent. He told us that. He told his agent, after spending basically all of last year down at home in South Carolina, I imagine on Lake Huey, that he didn't really want to go anywhere else but here. He wanted to stay in the Carolinas, and being able to be only like an hour and a half away from home, maybe a little bit longer than that, because there's always terrible traffic on 85, but not being too far away from home, that's something that really spoke to him. And then he said he was open to talking to the Raiders, and we talked to Q Myers, who covers the Raiders here on Lockdown for Locked On Raiders, also of ESPN Radio, that he was kind of disappointed that Hunter wasn't coming back to Las Vegas, because he thought that highly of him and felt like the Panthers were going to get the old Hunter Renfrow. And so far, Dabo's seen it, Dave's seen it. Hell, I've seen it. Everyone who's been out there has seen the old Hunter Renfrow, and it's really cool. And Hunter also said this is the deepest wide receiver room that he's been around, I would imagine, in the NFL. I don't know back at Clemson, because they had some dudes there for a minute when he was in school with Deshaun. But you look at it, like, at this point, to me, I don't see how Hunter Renfrow is not going to be on the roster. Like, he's going to be on the team. Like, you got 5 receivers who I think are a lock to be on the team as far as like how things stand right now. There's certainly going to be a question about what do you do with Julian Council if you're going to keep Hunter or Renfrow around, but then do you want to be short-sighted when you look at next year? Adam Thielen likely not going to be here, so then you could have all 4 of Hunter, of Jalen, of Xavier Legette, and Tedero McMillan as that force amount wide receiver moving forward for next season and beyond potentially. But I just don't see how Hunter's not on the roster with Thielen, with Legette, with McMillan and Coker. Like, those 5 should be good. Then the other guys battling for spot 6 or spot 7 are going to have to do it via special teams. And Hunter's been out there fielding punts, so maybe he's taking on that role, and that could prevent someone from making the team there. Now, I feel like David Moore's probably going to be in a good spot. We talked to Mike K of Charlotte Observer about that last week, how much his staff likes David Moore. Maybe he doesn't make the official roster right off the bat, but certainly would be on the practice squad, as he is not going to be subject to waivers, so he'll be able to sign with whoever, and that would be right back here in Carolina. So Jimmy Horn Jr. probably would make the team if they're only going to keep 6. We'll see how it plays out, but it's hard to not see Hunter being like one of their top 3 guys. Like, I know Adam, I know T-Mac, and I know that Xavier, they've been the 3 that have first gone out there, but it's hard not to see Hunter Renfrow being a big part of this. Maybe they run a lot of 4 wide receiver sets this year. I know they like to utilize the tight end a lot, so it's going to be crowded. as far as it goes with those wide receivers. He's primarily played in the slot at Hunter Renfrow has. And you look at back at 2020 and 2021, the last time he was healthy, he played 200-plus snaps out wide, with the majority still being in the slot. And Adam Thielen played 322 snaps in the slot last year, 107 snaps out wide. So Hunter can play inside, he can play outside. And they always talk about you want the receivers to be able to play every single position. I think there's only one guy in this roster they're really looking to play X, and that's going to be T-Mac, Terrell McMillan. But at slot, you put Coker there, you put Hunter Renfrow there, of course, Adam Thielen. At Z, probably could put Thielen, could have put Coker, who's probably better in the slot, and could put Hunter Renfrow out there. Going to be able to mix and match where they position some of these receivers this year. And Hunter is a big reason why, and just overall talent level, how it's gotten better. That is certainly the case here in Carolina. Special teams update there, an update on the controversy, as these guys do not want to separate at this point in time. We'll talk about that here in just a moment on Locked On Panthers. This episode is presented by Yahoo Fantasy. Fantasy football is back. Fire up the group chat, get your draft board ready, and buckle up for a season filled with breakouts, bust, and all the overreactions we live for. It's all going down on Yahoo Fantasy. This year, me and Locked On NFL are playing on Yahoo Fantasy, and you should too, whether you're a first-timer or a veteran making your millionth league. To celebrate 28 years of fantasy greatness, Yahoo Fantasy is dropping 28 big new features over 28 days, giving you more ways to play, more ways to draft, and more ways to win. It all begins August 4th. Stay tuned and get started by creating or joining a Yahoo Fantasy Football League at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. That's yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. And let's make this fantasy season the best one yet. A few more observations from day 5 of Carolina Panthers training camp ahead of the 2025 season. Day 1 with pads on, which did not mean a ton for special teams as far as returners and the kickers went, as they have not been live, and they're not going to really be live with any of that kind of stuff, as that's been basically outlawed from the NFL. As we know, with the kickoff rule being changed and then the punts and all that, they're not going to have anybody in danger. But the punter, Sam Martin, was activated off of the non-football injury list on the Monday morning, was dealing with a hamstring injury that caused him to miss the first week of camp, but he was back out there. Still not punting, though. They were still using the jugs machine. If you don't know what that is, just a machine that they use, the football in there. Guys, a lot of times, like receivers, running backs, tight ends, whoever, use it to practice catching. DBs could also do that as well. But with this, they just use it so that they can simulate punts for the returners. So guys who are fielding punts today, same group as we've seen: David Moore, Trevor Etienne, Jimmy Horn Jr., TJ Luther, Raheem Blackshear, and Hunter Renfrow. I think Luther is a new name. I don't believe I saw Jacoby George out there with them today. Both those guys are wearing 80 numbers. One's 80, which is George. One's 81, who's Luther. So I'll go back again and double check to see how that's all going. But that's the guys who have been returning, or at least fielding. They haven't been returning. They've been fielding punts and really been fielding kickoffs as well. The same group, and that will be something that we'll have to play out against Cleveland during the preseason, against Houston during the preseason, then, of course, the finale against Pittsburgh also in the preseason. Controversy update: Ryan Fitzgerald was up with another opportunity to kick field goals for the 4th time with the media out there. Sam Martin, though, he was holding, which is a key part of this. That we asked Steve Canals last week just about the kicker battle and how long he would want to take it. And he was also asked about Sam Martin, how he has a role in all of that, with Sam being the primary holder. And I asked Dave about that as well. And he told us that he's wanted to take the kicker competition into games, but was saying it was a good thing to have Sam back there so they can get down the timing, the continuity there, as he's going to be the primary holder, but also want to give a lot of credit to Andy Dalton. So how about Andy Dalton and what he was able to do? So it's good to know that you have, I mean, they could have figured it out, because Adam Thielen apparently also was willing to be a holder if they needed one, but Andy's been able to do it even in the NFL, not too far removed from that, even though it's been a couple of stops since he was last in Cincinnati with the Bengals. But Ryan Fitzgerald had an opportunity after Matthew Wright went 3 for 5, now 7 for 10 overall during training camp, had an opportunity to separate himself today, and he went miss, make, and miss. So both Matthew Wright and Ryan Fitzgerald, 7 of 10 on the skinny post. They would not have missed a single field goal so far. Maybe one of them would have been a miss, because there was one that was pulled, the final one there by Ryan Fitzgerald. And we do not know the distances at all. They're not putting the goalposts in the end zone. They've got them like on the 10-yard line, 20-yard line sometimes. And the sight lines aren't great for us. So I do not know what the distances are, but he missed the closest one. I do know that. And then he missed the longest one, made the 3 in the middle, and he is now 7 of 10, just like Matthew Wright. So again, Dave Canales telling us, I asked this question, whether with Sam Martin back, would that accelerate their decision as far as who the kicker is going to be? He wants to take it into games. First game is next week at home on that Friday night against the Cleveland Browns. So that will be the first step, I suppose, towards deciding who the kicker is going to be. And we'll see how much longer he wants to take that following that preseason opener against Cleveland. But that's going to wrap up this edition of the Locked On Panthers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, hosted by yours truly, Julian Council. Again, y'all subscribe or follow the show free over on YouTube or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, and follow me over on Twitter and Blue Sky at Julian Council. I'm going to do a special Friday mailbag here, talk about training camp. So any questions you have about camp so far, about this team, I'm going to answer those questions on Friday at me, and DM me over on Twitter, at me over on Blue Sky as well, to get those questions in. But in the meantime, be safe, be happy, be whole. As always, keep pounding, and I'll be back with y'all on Tuesday, where it'll be tough for me to go to training camp on Tuesday. Not quite sure if I can make it, but I will at the very least give you reactions to what's going on as far as the press conferences, that press conference reaction. And then there was something contractually that happened this weekend with Rashawn Slater that may pertain to Ike Ekwonu. So I want to talk about that possibly on Tuesday, Wednesday, whenever you guys listen to the show, watch the show here on Locked On Panthers. So talk to you then.